Alrighty. It's Happy to Hump Day. It's Wednesday. This is Doc from North America saying buongiorno and good evening and good day, I guess. That's what it comes down to. So it's morning, afternoon, and evening. And so let's see what we got going on. What are they doing? They just keep on trying to move the cash. The earnings keep on coming out here in the States. That's a biggie. Everybody's watching how banks, how much money they're making, how well they're doing, so forth and so on. And let's take a look at, what do we have up on the screen? You see the dollar index this morning, a little firm still, a little green. I keep on seeing the 30-year. Hey, Robin, I see the, I keep on seeing, what do I keep on seeing? I keep on seeing bonds drift lower down in price, which means interest rates are rising. That's how that usually works. And so, not usually, it does work that way. It's not a usual. It's a definite. It's like, it's like that E equals MC square thing. It happens and it does. All right, so did I even open that up there? Oh, I didn't open that up. I was going to say, let's take a look at it over on Chicago Quant and see what it's doing there, too, at the same time. There we go. And there's the answer to that question. That is the dollar index on the CME right there. And you can see it's higher up and it's in a daily buy for a third day there. That's saying that's what all this green, whoop, wrong button, wrong place, right there. All this green right there. There we are. That's what all that green is trying to tell us, just like it's telling us that right here. And in the weekly, let's move that up like so. Weekly's still in a sell. You can see the fast-moving algorithm has tried to make a little breach across the negative manifold, and you can see the slow-moving one is turning up. So we'll see if they actually do something. I don't believe it, but remember, for every buyer there's a seller, and sometimes there's more buyers and sometimes there's more sellers. And then when there's more sellers, normally it goes down in value, and that's like the word normally can be put in there. It's not absolute solely because you don't know if it's a derivative position on. So in other words, you're looking at the underlying product, the stock, the bond, the currency, whatever, the forex of some form, the pairs trade. You're looking at that, the gold, the oil, whatever the underlying product is. And at the same time, they may be on the other side of the ball. They're on two or three sides of the ball. They could be selling something short and at the same time buying calls or selling puts as a short at the selling puts as a short / or buying calls as a opening long position. So it offsets it, and most people understand that as a straddle. That's right, a straddle. So it's kind of like a seesaw. On one side is one person, on the other side is another, and depending on their mass, the weight that they weigh, it has that influence. Ta-da, ta-da. All right. So, can I say anything that I've seen in the news that relates to our algorithms and what they're doing? Not particularly. I guess the only thing we can say is that interest rates are rising again a little bit. They keep on rallying them and then knocking them down a little bit, and then they rally them more. And they topped out a couple days ago, and sure enough, the pairs trades start to feel that same reflection of it. I guess that's the best way to describe it. All right, from there, we will slide over to the euro. Right there. There's the euro, the second most active product from the second largest economy in the world. The euro is the the European Union is the second largest economy in the world, and that's their currency, and that's why it trades so actively, because they are the second largest economy in the world. And you can see what we see there, and that is that it's kind of looking like the dollar index. It's kind of got that little downwardly pressure for 3 days now, and it's sloping, and you can see the fast algorithm. I was just going to go after my tea. I'm going to put my tea down because I want to use that mouse. My son was talking about yesterday about if he could have 2 more arms, he'd pay $250,000 right now. In other words, have 4 arms instead of 2. I used 2 mice at once with my left and right hand, but then I could have a 3rd arm, sipping tea with. I like that. You can see here the fast is trying to break the manifold also, just like we're seeing on the I have to laugh at the dollar index trying to break it in the reverse side of that. And these are basically competitive in the sense that the euro pairs against the dollar, and the dollar index are 2 different creatures really, because the dollar index is made up of 6 currencies. And obviously the bulk of it, 53% of it, is the euro. So that's okay. That's makes sense. But a large bunch, the rest is, the Japanese yen, probably the second largest economy in the world. And then, probably the third largest economy in the world. And then the fourth is probably... not fourth, probably it is. It's the British pound, and that makes up that 47%. The yen and the yen and the British pound, and then we throw in the one of the stronger currencies in the world, the Canadian dollar and economy, and that's the third of that other half of the euro or the dollar index itself, and then the Swiss franc and the kroner. So. These are, interesting, solely because we're getting to a point now where they're talking about creating a brick index, a brick unit or some brick of something, I don't know. Brickosaurus. They're talking about making a brickosaurus. And I guess they're going to try to gene it, like in Lost World, like in Jurassic Park. They're going to take dead currencies and try to bring them back to life by connecting them up with alive currencies, just like they took live cells, like frogs and turtles and so forth, and they took the DNA and they crisped and gene threaded them into those creatures to give them attributes of dinosaurs of old. And that's what they're trying to do now with the bricks, I guess. They're trying to build a competitive product, and I figure if people want to talk about it, in the sense of they want to talk about how the dollar is going to go away as the dodo bird, we might as well talk about the new product, the brick, and how you build something like that. So I think we might start calling it Tyrannosaurus brick. That sounds good. I like that one better. Now I got my sip. I got my sip of tea in there. Yeah, Tyrannosaurus brick. Doc's just typically me. All right. So there's the euro. And let's put it up on J4X. Tyrannosaurus brick. I don't know. That sounds too strong for something so weak. I think we need to come up with something else. I think it's more like a leaf eater. Let's see. And there is the euro right there. And you can see there are 3 reds. You see the green line piercing slow and steadily down through the dashed line, telling us that's like a 3-dimensional 0 line, the yellow dash line there. So it's doing the same gig with that weakness, the whole bit. They're all matching up. And our weekly looks fine. And I'm sure the weekly over here looks fine. There it is. At the top end of its range, but lots of green. So just like we have lots of green right here. See, lots of green. Since it broke through, we put a little line in there. You can see the fast has been rocking and a rolling and a reeling just the same, even more, advancing the warning sign that pressure, the trend is up. That's what we try to do here too. We try to, hey George, how you doing? We try to identify trends, the solid trends, good trends, consistent trends. Yeah, morning to you too. So, what do you think? Got anything you would like to see? Are you a little surprised with the metals? That weakness in the gold and the silver? It's just so far it just looks like it's just digestion. You know, when you eat a big meal, it's a digestion of some form. That's what it says to me. It says to me that's just a digestion of some form at the moment. Nothing more than that. We'll keep an eye on it. Was a tad disappointed that we're playing with the 25 instead of the 27 on silver, of course. And then the grains are looking interesting. You know, we got I think the front, is it the front month? No, we've got corn in weekly buys with no problem. It's been that way for a while. And now we have May wheat in a buy, even in a weekly buy, not a daily, of course. Oh, and it's unfortunately it's trying to. There's a little pink circle this morning in it, you know, trying to press down on us. It's like, what? You know, it's like you just got into the weekly buy last week. Can't you like stick around for a little bit longer? Just a little longer. And then from there, I guess you could say, as we go over and we look at the May soybeans, they are trying to get into that buy, you know, right there. You see that right there. And it's in the daily buy, and it's looking pretty firm. What a V bottom that is, huh? You know, you're looking at, you're looking right here at this reverse head and shoulders. Maybe this is the beginning of something big. Let's take a look at it on J4X too. Let's put the daily in there. Let's see, soybeans. There they are. It's got that same gig going on. You know, it's trying to lift up. It's the spot. Trading in the 115s. You know, it's interesting. Can you imagine? You can imagine. Which kind of surprised me that new crop beans are trading $2 below spot now. That kind of gives me a little, not pause, but surprise. See, look at that right there. Trading at $13.12, $2.02 lower. It's like, wow. You would have think it would be only down. I would have thunk it would be down, you know, to maybe 50 cents or 75 cents, but $2. I guess that's cost to carry, I guess, and they're concerned that there'll be just too much beans out there. I don't know. $13 must be some type of magic number. Cost of fertilizer, this, that, and the other thing, and profits, and you know, it's probably got some type of mathematical thing. And then as we get closer, it'll probably become the contango will kick up. So that is that. There we go. And we'll go like so. So back to the euro right there. Just kind of moseying along. Let's take a look at one of those other big country, big economy things, and that is the British pound, which was the world reserve currency until 2019. No, I'm sorry, 1919. 1919. Not 2019. 104 years ago. And you can see here it's trying to pierce through the zero line. The weekly could care less. You know, in other words, it stayed in a buy with no problem all these weeks. And we're seeing a little positive action. We had red and green yesterday. We're having red and green today. George says, sorry, Doc, in and out in here today. Multitasking. I like that. I've been trying to put in my cab inside my tractor a bracket that will hold my tablet. I keep on, figuring that when I'm out doing something and, I can look up and see what the markets are doing. Rewound it when I heard you say something about grains. Yeah, I was in the mood to, when I put the numbers out and look at it and check out the charts and all like that, it always catches my curiosity, Just trying to, especially when you see a contango like that, $2 lower, it catches my eye. Just like in gold, the contango of, gold, you're looking at, next year's gold is trading $100 higher. That always says to me, like, whew, something's going on there. To have that larger contango, and that's not I can't imagine I guess that would be a 5% cost of carry. Yeah, I guess that meets with the, but the thing is that the 1 year bond is trading around 5%. So I guess that's what it is. Let's take a look at that. That's an interesting point of view. Yeah, I'm having a discussion with myself, basically. Doc, having a conversation with Doc. Doc's, what? What are you saying, Doc? I don't know. What am I saying? Let's go check it out. Where is the 1 year? There it is, right there. 1 year treasuries are trading at, where is it? I just saw it. 4.82. So yeah, I guess that makes sense. The cost of carry could be, almost 5%. That makes sense. George says, I see July silver dipped to under 25. Should we buy at 25? That's a good question. And probably my answer is, let's go to it and dissect it. But I would say not yet, because I'm saying basically I want a daily buy. We're in a weekly buy. I want a daily buy. Give me a daily buy. You can see we're getting a red and a green. You can see the low today was 24,771. Now, if you're buying with options, it's a whole different story because you don't get stopped out. But if you're doing it with the underlying product, the hard delta, then it's a whole different story. So when it dropped, and you got, you have, let me put my tea back down again. I'm trying to get my little lips onto the tea again. Let me just push on this. Okay, so here's a good example where my head's at always it's there. And that is that we're in a weekly buy, daily buy. Yeah, there's weakness here. Can you buy some dips? Definitely. But the thing is that not the hard delta, only in options, because this way you don't get stopped out. And what happens is that you can see here, it's trying to, it curved yesterday, and now it's breaking through the manifold. And yeah, if it, you could buy some call spreads here and try to buy some more a little bit lower, and average in whatever you're willing to put out in speculative capital. Do it through the options market and go with the binaries in a sense, So, yeah, I hear you there. It makes sense to me, and that's the way this will be a bounce. There's going to be a bounce to it. I doubt that the markets are going to roll over. We would now if the fast moving algorithm, the blue, it would break down through the zero line. Then there would be a lot more concern in my head. Right now, I'm not too concerned about it. I just see some pressure. Nothing more than that. Probably profit taking. People have become conditioned to the idea that you get a good run in the metals complex, and people will automatically figure, okay, take some money because it's going to get smashed by the central bank again. So I think that answers your question there, doesn't it? Got a chance to have a sip of my tea. Well, I threw that out at you. I like that. All right. So back to Mr. and Mrs. Currency. We were looking at Mr. and Mrs. Pound, and there it is. And let's put it up on J4X and remove. See, I got soybeans on J4X there. And GBP right there. No problem at all. Matter of fact, I want to take that conversation a little bit further. One of my great disappointments over the decades is that that the Securities Exchange Commission and the CFTC in this country do not push for more option education and away from gambling type risk investing. I'm really surprised that they have not matured to that point yet. I had a conversation with somebody this morning about that. Is that if they're using options, marrying them to their underlying product, there is no reason to have to reach for bonds. You create a synthetic bond on your own. Why buy the bond? I guess maybe, hey, you know what? I might have just answered my own question by saying it out loud. And that is that they need the bond market because it exists. And if people started to treat bonds in an astute investment way, that would really hurt the financial industry, the sales forces, because the amount of money they make trading bonds is what was it? It overshadows anything they do in other areas. Yeah, bond trading, they make, as we call it during the early years, beaucoup, which is Vietnamese for a lot. Beaucoup, big. So yeah, that would hurt the weasels in the bond industry. Boy, people would buy their bonds and park them. They wouldn't sell them until they mature, and the bond industry needs that rollover to make all that buku money, or they won't be able to afford to have their Bloomberg terminals, because that's where it's all at in the end. So, all right, from there we slide into the Swiss. Let's see what the Swiss is doing this morning. I saw them all yesterday. I think they were all in a buy, which was like, what? Yeah, 3 days in a buy. So at least it's marching along with the rest of the crowd. In some ways, when we look at the yen and the Swiss, both of those have been kind of locked in the same trading trend. But of late, the Swiss has fallen back into the trend with the euro and the rest of them, and the yen itself seems to be on its own flight at this point. It's sometimes it matches up and sometimes it doesn't. They have other things going on there, and they are also one of the largest economies in the world, and they are still trading bonds as a minus. Yeah, minus. Bummer, huh? That's what I say. Bummer. So now, what else we got brewing here? What was the one front? Let's see what that is. Boom. Ah, okay. So from there, we slide over to the yen. Let's see what the yen is doing. There it is, right there. And that's in a buy. You see a lot of green there, and it's been on that upwardly projectile compared to the others on the downwardly one. Because there's the Swiss. Swiss has been finding ways to go down every time it pops up, making more lows. And this thing here keeps on making new highs. A little disappointed. I think the 36 area is pretty resistant, but we'll see. When you have minus interest rates, I guess you would think money managers would think twice what to do with that country and their products when you have minus interest rates. Whereas at least the European Union now, after over a decade, finally woke up to the fact. So, and let's put it up over here. And there's the yen. Yeah, keep on making higher lows, keep on making higher highs, and been in and out, more buys and well, that was an interesting one. I thought it was joining in with the rest of the gang, and then it stopped cold and just turned back up again. And you can see here it's flirting with that weekly buy, whereas over on the Swiss, you see there, and everybody else, they're staying in their cells, and they're gaining against the dollar on a weekly trend, but not the yen. All right. Let's see what else we got brewing here today. It's Happy to Hump Day. Hooray. Tomorrow's Thursday. Hooray, hooray. So then, let's go over to the Turkish lira. Trading against the euro. And you can see there, it has been rolling over for a couple days, but keeps on spiking too at the same time. You got in a weekly buy. It doesn't really look like any real changes coming there. Let's put it up on J4X right there. So as we see here, the daily also down and playing down, but the weekly happy. Over here we see the same situation, a little sideways action. Matter of fact, is that a green? They're trying to develop a green today there with the hinky. Interesting. With it moving down. It's just a noise, I guess you could say, in the background. That's what that is, really. Noise in the background. So from there, what do we go from there? We go on to let's see what the weekly looks like on J4X. And then from there we'll go to Canada and South Africa and look at oil and gold. In many ways, we should probably do what we should really do? We should probably do the Mexican peso. And then from the Mexican peso, solely, we've always followed the Mexican peso here, but now it could be the major player in the BRIC index. And so, I don't want to park it next to the euro. The euro is the euro Turkish lira is such a sad story there. I don't want to really park it there. We'll do it at the end. But it is kind of neat. If I changed the rhythm and did Mexican peso, then from there we go to oil and Canadian, and then the last one would be South African and gold. Then we could go into the metals complex, and then from the metals complex we could go into the oil complex. That would be kind of neat, I think I'll do it that way. That makes sense to me. That does sound like a good rhythm. So let's try that rhythm. We're going to go like that, and you can see here the euro is not giving up. It's still climbing on the weekly, just like we are here on Chicago Quant. Just with the weekly buy going on right there. All right, now we drift over to the Mexican peso instead. Right there. And peso is just kind of cruising along. This could be the literal pillar of the BRIC if they can figure out how to revive the other three dead currencies. Remember, they're going to have to be exercised. That's what the problem is. And that's really hard to do, to do that, That's what it really comes down to. That's exactly what happens, is that you just can't have an index without being able to take some type of delivery, the contract or the currency or something like that. And in this case here, all right. So now let's take a look at the peso a little bit deeper in the sense of, let's put it up on J4X too. We'll start off with the weekly on that, since it could be a major player here and not, in a nearby universe, I really don't think it will. I don't think they're going to surrender. Mexico would be crazy. That's why that big hump in there and those dots. Mexico would be crazy to be tied to the BRICS, really. I mean, the BRICS are dead right now. So, I mean, there's no reason to want to be tied to them. But it would be a big feather in their cap, but it may be, the same problems we have with the dollar being the world reserve currency. It really messes with your money supplies and your fundamentals and all like that. So, trust me, you don't want to be a world reserve currency. It's not the place to be. It's not very good. That's why we were, cheerleaders for the euro when there was no euro. We tried creating a euro unit. When was it? In 2000? Yeah, 2000. In 1982, we tried creating a euro unit. Then the concept had to be, massaged, I guess you could say. And then the next thing you know is, the French franc and the all the other currencies, the Italian lira and the Deutschmark and all like that had to go away to make up the euro. So, it was a lot of work there. The kroner and the Swiss franc and the British pound stayed, but the rest of them, did not. So there's the Mexican peso, and that's pretty much the name of the game. And you can see the weekly has been pressing down just like it's doing right here. A lot of in and outs going on since that announcement on the bricks. Usually this thing is really consistent. Gets into a position or shifts into another position and stays in it for a while, like 3, 4, 5 weeks. But we've been kind of going in and out, in and out, in and out. Even the fast now is breaking through the zero. Is it breaking? Yeah, it's breaking through the zero line itself right there, trying to move up. That's interesting, you know. And that wild hump just right there, those 3 days, once they announced they were considering being a brick, really put a charge into their currency. It hurt it. Hurt it pretty well. Now let's get the daily up there. There we go. And you can see there the daily is trying to turn up. You got a green there. We've been in a daily buy for 3 days. It's turning up here. And you can see right there the whole bit. All right. Now, brown cow. We slide over to, we'll put in, we'll go to oil. So let's put in the oil, light sweet crude from Texas right there. And I think they do it in Canada too. They have both. They have the hard and the soft. Sulfur and light sulfur. And over here we put in the Canadian dollar. We'll put Canadian on one chart and then we'll switch them back and forth. There's the Canadian. You see the Canadian's been moving up for the last 4 days. And you can see the crude has been moving down for the last couple days right there. And that's usually the way it works. It's about a 70% accuracy rate, sometimes better, sometimes worse. Smoothed out overall, it's right around 70. So, you know, oil is, Canadians trying to tell us that the oil wants to go down. Go down, that's what it is. Which is okay with me. I mean, I paid $3.19 a gallon, you know, on Sunday morning. And by the afternoon, it was 20 and 30 cents higher. No, thank you. All right, and then what we'll do is we'll go over and take a look at oil here. And there's the spot month. You know, it's been moving down for a few days, just like you see it on J4X right there. Same story, just a different place. Same action. And I hear a ding. Where did that ding come from? There it is. Let's see what we got here. Cool. It's going to answer that. Cool. So, what else have we got brewing here? I guess that's it. That's the Canadian side of this conversation. Now let's slide over to the metal side of it, which always seems to have everybody captivated also. If it's not gold, it is oil. And there's gold. You can see right there. Gold having some downwardly projectile or strength or direction for the last 4 days. And let me just double check what that is. There it is. That's Friday. Then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Or as they say in The Godfather, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Wednesday, Friday. All right. And then from there, we put up over here the South African Rand. And there it is. Looks really tangled at the moment. You see a little strength trying to come in on the daily. And then if we flip them back and forth and we put up, not the crude, the gold right there. You see gold with the reddish thing going on for a couple of days and the line underneath the dashes. You know, the pressure's on there. Not major pressure, just downwardly pressure. Let me just do that real quick like this. You can see here, that is a little more of a warning. You know, George, when we talked about silver, that's one thing. But look at this. Both of them are trying to join in. They're both underneath the manifold. That catches my eye. I think, ooh, what's the issue there? So then from there, we'll slide in the South African Rand, since we have gold up on the other screen. Oh no, yes. What was that? Did I have the right thing up there? Let me just go back there, just double check. Yeah, that's gold. Okay, so now let's get the South African Rand up on there. Right there. You see, that's not as frustrating, but it isn't a daily buy for a couple of days. And the weekly is kind of mixed. You got the fast moving up. You've seen it going in and out, in and out. Now, it would take some real work to get that slow up. If it goes up beyond this point here of the 1850, there could be, or is that, no, I'm sorry, 1818. If it gets up to 1850, we get 35, 40-point move. It could really push that. So we'll keep an eye on that, because if they make a break on the gold, we're going to see a break against the dollar on the South African Rand. It'll start losing against the dollar aggressively. Not counting whatever crazy political stuff is going on down there at this point. So between those two things alone, it's like it just doesn't stop, you know. All right, from there, let's jump over to, where do we jump over to? So, okay, we finished them off. I like that. This way we take the brick a little bit more serious. Then we watch the number one currency that will be a pillar. Because I don't think anybody else, when you think about who will join the brick, I've heard Nigeria would be willing to do it. And that's an oil currency like the Mexican peso, but the peso is much better off. Hard to believe in it, but it is. And then from there, I'm trying to think who else. The South African Rand would be okay. That's going to be the second strongest currency in there. So it would go Mexican peso, South African Rand, and then after that, who else is in there? Oh, Indian rupee. That would be underneath the South African Rand. Those three would be the bulk of the brick. The rest of them would literally be, if the other three were able to be used, the Brazilian real and the currency that will not be named, the ruble, and then the Chinese yuan. That's it, Chinese yuan. They would be less than 10% of an index. I mean, they're not exactly leaders at all in the currency. So it's that's what always seems odd to me. We can't get an honest conversation from anybody. I throw it out here every day or every other day, honest conversation about trying to understand what the media is trying to sell us, and we ain't buying. They try to sell it to us, and we ain't buying. That's what it comes down to. All right. From there, we're going to go over to the metals complex now and keep on going. What we'll do is we'll keep on. Let's do the save. And save workspace as. Maybe all my lines will stay in there now. And then what we'll do is now we'll go over to the metals. Right there. And you can see, like I said, gold giving me a little concern. And then when we look at the silver right there, not as much a concern. So, kind of interesting. It could be profit taking. That's what it. And then what we do is we'll scoot by. Well, here's copper. They're selling down copper today, which is no surprise because that's a relationship to that weak currency, the yuan. So let's go over to the platinum right there. Now the platinum, something's whack about that. Let's see if we can fix that. Let's see what we got there. Apple. No, I don't want to hear anything from Apple either. What it's selling, I don't want. Oh, there it is right there. Let's see if that straightens it out. There we go. So here, platinum's holding up. They tried to sell it down this morning. It doesn't care. It's got that honey badger thing going on. It don't care. So I guess what we're going to see is oh, there we go. No, nobody else is asking any questions today. It's quiet. Wednesday, everybody's in the middle of the week now. They're like, got through Monday and Tuesday. I'm not sure what I want to do now. Or everybody's up on their tractoring. I got to get out there on my tractor. I've been doing everything else but that. I got to do some tractoring. My plants in the greenhouse are saying, hey, we want to get in the ground. Yeah. I promise them an eternal life. Because green things, when you pick their fruit off, set off a ultrasonic sound. In other words, they cry and scream. And so when I talk to them, I tell them, I'm going to give you the best life you can have living here. And I'm going to fight for you. And I'm going to talk to you. You know, green lives matter in my head. All right. So, watch those vegetarians. They're evil. They hurt plants. From there, we go to the energy sector, since that's platinum looking pretty all right, you know. You can see the weekly doesn't care. The daily, not much noise there either. You know, it's underneath the manifold, but nothing really. It's holding up pretty well. Maybe it'll try to slide into a sell going into tomorrow or something like that, or today, and then we'll see how well it holds up. But look at this. It's been basically in the buy since the high 900s, you know. And now we are flirting. Yesterday we did touch $1,102 basically. And we're hanging out in the 1,089 now as we speak. Green lives matter. Tell your plants that you're going to do the best you can for them, for the lifespan that they live. Tell them they're going to have a good life. Indeed. All right, now let's go check out. There's crude. We looked at that earlier. On Brent, let's put Brent up on J4X. Right there. So as you see here, spot oil moving down. We're seeing the same gig with Brent doing the same thing, trying to move down, you know. It's doing its pressure-y thing. You got the green line breaking down there. So you can see that pressure that's there. And then at the same time, let's go to the back month just to get a flavor for it. And there is 79.35. And let's see what the front month is doing. Let's do it with this on J4X. There's the front month. 79.64. Okay. So still about a 20-cent contango going on. 30 cent, like 27-cent contango. It was up as high as 60 cents there. Then we go back to J4X, and we'll move down to, what is it, right here? Natural gas right there. $2.20. It's lifting over, battling its way to $2.20. So I guess that's what, $2.25. That's what it is. And when we put it up over here, you're going to be like, ooh, look at that. Bull market. Remember we talked about that on Monday. It's like, we need to get into that. And it's doing it. It's trying. Today is starting to play off. It was up. Now it's down. And I would like to see this weekly join in on the fast algorithm and get into that plus side of things. I know Methos talks about it. You know, he's like the dollar cost average. I think he said he's waiting for $1.70 now to buy. I told him he had a good shot at getting a nice big profit out of it now. I think it's going to do another, jump into the mid 50s at least, maybe 60s. So he's been averaging out, so he should be doing all right. I know he bought it too. So now from there, that's the Nat Gas. We'll go back over to J4X. As you see there, it's moving up and up the high end of the range. Let's check out the energy company in Spain. It broke the 28 yesterday. I was like, yay for Europe. Hooray for Europe. Right there. Let's hope it's like 27.50. What? Back up into the 28s? What is wrong with them? Don't they know that winter is going away? Boy, there is no rest for the weary when it comes to the poor energy situation in Europe. You see that nice little bounce there. Maybe that'll... No. We don't really want that nice bounce. I just realized that. We want it to keep on going down. And over here, American natural gas is trying to roll over. They need that to start to roll over. Wow, that's really punishing, Too much punishment. They need to do something there. Oh, Tay. From there, we drift over to... Where do we drift over to? We drift over to... we go to the stock indices. Let's take a quick, fast look. I'm going to put the S&P 500 up on J4X right there. And you can see it's trying to bounce back up. Yesterday it was down, but today it's giving us a little red there. And then over here, let's go like that right there. And you can see there the pressure is more, and it's getting into a sell now. And the fast has dropped underneath the manifold. You see here, this green line's trying to break here. A little pressure. Now, I've been hearing a lot of stories about the earnings. I've been hearing a lot of opinions, and then how they run towards cash more. They've been getting into a cash or a more what they call liquid position. I don't think of it as that. If they would only use collars, sell the calls out of the money, use that premium to buy the puts, and then they have their own bond. They don't even have to go to buy bonds. They have their own bond, and they'll have a nice dividend, and they have a position on. So especially in those high dividend stocks where it's paying 3, 4, 5, or 6% now, you definitely want to put collars on, and collars on a shirt. Put a collar around the neck. Yep, that is the answer to that. And so what's left out of this conversation is we'll take a look at the other indices, and then we'll call it a day. How's that sound? Makes sense to me. So from there, let's take a look at the intraday. So the intraday's been lifting up. We came off of the 50 area. The low, the low today is 4,150.75, and we're starting to lift up in here. And this is what we've done since the close last night. Has just been one slow grind down, nothing major, and you can see very short term it's trying to just digest this move. That's about it. And so that pressure is on. What else can we say about that when it comes to the S&P? This is the world index in a sense. 50% of all the companies in it are incorporated in the United States, and the other 50% of them are incorporated outside the United States. In other words, there are foreign entities, foreign companies from other countries, like a Siemens or a Deutsche Bank even, or I don't even know if Deutsche Bank is still in there even, but Royal Dutch Shell, things like that. British Aerospace, you go on and on and on. Steel, the manufacturer, so forth and so on. German and British and Italian and Spanish and Scandinavian, Norway and Denmark and so forth. There's somebody in there, Audi or something like that. Anyhow, that is that. Let's now take a look at the Tech 100. Since interest rates have been kind of steady and people are anticipating them to go down, not up, on the interest rate factor, let's take a look at them today. And you can see there, that's holding up really well from those lows from 11,000 area. And here we are hanging around in the 13,000 area. So that's pretty cool. A little pressure here. They're definitely, like the S&Ps, underneath, pressing down on the daily. And you can see the weekly is having some issues also. Now this has been in a buy on the weekly for a long while when you really think about it. Went into the buy back in January in the 10,000, the high 10,000 area, and it's been, it went into the buy right around here in the 11,000 area, right there. And then it's just been pushing up, up, and up. It's been basically there as last year. So, they're anticipating lower interest rates because this particular index represents very intense capitalized companies. They need to. They definitely need to. What's the word I'm looking for there? They definitely need to basically get a lot of. What am I trying to say in English? What it comes down to is they need to borrow money, and when you borrow money, normally you pay interest, and when you pay interest, that creates expense. That type of thing. It's like a little chain reaction there. All right, now we'll slide over to the Dow Jones Industrial Average. Right there. You see that? There's the Dow. See all that? It's been in a buy for a couple of weeks. This is the 4th week. And we'll put it up on J4X. Oh, look at it. We didn't have the Tech 100 up there. Let's put the Tech 100 up there. There you go. So it's showing that same pressure thing going on right there. And let's just take a quick peek since we just saw it. Let's see what the weekly looks like also. Yeah, see, that's green, 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 green. Lots of green. Green, 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 green. Just like over on Chicago. Now what we'll do is we will slide. We'll leave the week up, but we'll put the Dow Jones Industrial Average in there, right there. And that's 4 weeks in the buy. Same as here. You see there a little pressure the last couple of days. 2 days now and a sell. And let's put the daily up there. There we are. There's the daily. It's going into the sell today. It's doing that thing. Now, I'm not sure what the malfunction is on the other line. Where's the green line? How did it die like that? What is that all about? How about if I go like this? If I go like a weekly. There we are. There's the weekly. So now let's see what we can do when we put a daily in there. There we go. That's fixed. So you can see that pressure on it. I guess we'll see, how the money, that index has low expenses compared to the Tech 100. It has, it has a different type of company. We do have them in there too. In the Dow, we have Microsoft, we have Intel. They're intense cash-wise. You have Cisco Systems, same thing. We have Amazon. We have, or do we have Amazon or do we have Google in there? I think we have one or the other. We have, what else is in there? We have Amgen, the biotech, and I think we have, what is it called? Shopify maybe in there? So I think they're the ones that are, that's it on that. I think they're I think that's it. There's 7 NASDAQ stocks in there now, so it kind of does blend in. It has that same pressure at times. But it's a divisor stock, not a cap stock, so it doesn't have as much of an effect. Everybody's supposed to be pretty equal in it. And then from there, we're going to go. The last thing we look at will be the Russell 2000. Just a flavor of that. They were turning down yesterday with no problem. And I was hoping that they would start to get their game together, but I kind of pushed. It's trying to get into the sell today. It's just a little bit up. The weekly is hanging in there by the hair of its chinny chin chin. You can see that right there. And I think we have that over here too. Let's see, where is it at? There it is right there. You can see it's trying to break down also. Let's take a look at the weekly too. Weekly's probably looking pretty firm in there. Because it is doing a nice little bottom for a while. Yeah, look at that. In and out. Green, red, trying to go green again. So look at that. That's all. How about that? That one almost looks like it has both. What is that all about? That's interesting. Cool. I've never noticed that one before. There's a little green. It's like our red and green thing going on over here. That's kind of neat. So, all right. That's Doc from North America, unless you got another question. And what we will be doing is we will be heading to the markets. They open up in about 3.5 minutes. So, happy trails to you until we meet again. Happy trails to you, to all our trading friends. Later, later, traders. Catch you on the flip side. Tomorrow will be the day before Friday. Hooray for us. Oh, and I'll put the title across. I got to put a title across. I just realized that. Title: Tyrannosaurus Brick.